I'm sure you've heard anytime somebody presents you with a knife, if you're in a situation where you're being attacked with a knife, expect to be cut. Expect to be cut. And expect it. When you get cut, you're going to bleed. Now, people can bleed. I've had patients that I could not believe how much blood they had lost and they were still conscious and talking to me. It's ridiculous how much blood a human being holds. You're gonna bleed like crazy if you get cut, but as long as you're cut in a non-vital area, let it bleed. You can fix it later. Deal with your attacker, fix the problem later. How do we deal with severe bleeding? Well, the first thing we do, let's say we've got a cut across the arm, direct pressure, okay? Direct pressure and elevate, all right?
I was told that this is how much blood you have and you can lose a third of it. Roughly.
I think it's 12 pints, is that about
12
right?
pints? I don't know, I'd have to.
Let me tell you, you pour the contents of that out on the ground and
Right.
it covers a ridiculous amount of
Right.
area. I mean, it really does. It's ridiculous. All right, so we get a big cut, okay? We're going to grab it, direct pressure, and elevate. Obviously, you're not going to do this while you're still fighting the guy. All right, you're going to put your opponent down and then direct pressure, elevate, okay? That's the first step. If the bleeding is real severe and you have to move to the next step, now we're assuming first aid, you're going to dress it and then reinforce the dressing. We don't have any dressing. We're out in the street somewhere, all right? So we're going to cover and apply direct pressure and elevate. If that doesn't work, the next step is to go to a pressure point. And they're kind of difficult to do on yourself, but pressure point for the arm is the brachial cluster right under here under the armpit, all right? It's the same one we strike here, okay? You can feel that.
Yeah.
Okay? It's that one right there. So you're going to take your thumb and you're going to press it right against the brachial artery, right against the humerus bone, okay? That is your pressure point there. For lower leg, the pressure point is the femoral artery right here in the groin where your leg meets your torso. And you want to find it, just feel your pulse. All right, they're right there. That is the pressure point for the lower leg. There really isn't a pressure point for the head for obvious reasons. You'd have to choke off one of the carotid arteries, and that's not really a good thing. Fortunately, while the head is very vascular and bleeds like you would not believe, anybody who's ever cut their head knows this, it's actually very superficial. So that is how we deal with severe bleeding. Now, the American Heart Association now is tourniquets, which went away for a while, are now back in fashion. So could you do me a favor, just step in there and get me my black belt that should be in there. Now, granted, you're not going, well, unless you're leaving the dojo and someone attacks you, in which case, boy, are they dumb. You're not going to have your martial arts belt with you.
But he's got a.
But you have a,
But you do probably have a pants belt, all right? I don't want anybody to lose the pants here. Once you have a seat here. We're going to assume this man has an uncontrolled bleed below his knee. So we're going to do a little pressure point or a little tourniquet here. We're going to wrap this thing around, and actually let me borrow your belt because that's going to make more sense. All right. All right. Mid thigh. Oh, I had it right the first time, beg your pardon. Mid thigh. If you have something, got your wallet. Here's where I make $20 disappear. What we want to do is we want to put pressures on the artery, which is on the inside aspect of the leg. All your vulnerable parts are on the inside, the outside of your body, this area, the outsides, are fairly tough. But where do we give our shark bites? Right in here on the inside where it's soft and there's a lot of pain receptors there. All the arteries run along the inner aspect of these areas because they're protected there. We want to put pressure on the artery, not necessarily the muscle tissue. So a wallet, you stick right against the artery and then you crank down this belt, okay? And I'm telling you, man, you crank down, you lock it off, and if you've got like, how's that?
It's tight.
It's tight. Yeah, it's amazing how tight that is. And that's just with a standard belt. It'll hold pretty well. Now, if you've got something like this, what you're gonna do is you're gonna tie it and then use what's a windlass. Here, I'm gonna release the pressure there, okay? We'll just demonstrate right here. So you fixed the problem with your wallet, but if you need to increase pressure you're gonna put what's called a windlass in there, and actually it works better with this. Can you get me one of the sticks over there?
Short stick.
The short stick, yeah. Not a real short stick. Now,
Give me one too, please.
all right, so you've got, now, what is this out there?
Anything.
It's a tree branch. It's a tree branch, okay? So we've made, let's say that we've got, something else that's not a belt. String, rope, something else. All right, and this is all we've got. And let's pretend that this is a lot shorter than it is, all right? How are you going to tighten this? Well, you stick your windlass in it and you twist it. Okay, yeah, and it hurts, and it hurts, but it's better than bleeding to death. You're going to twist it until the bleeding stops, and then you're going to secure the ends with the end of your rope so that it doesn't unwind. Does everybody follow me with that? Yes, question.
You said that the American Heart Association stopped and then came back. There was one point at which they did not want people to put tourniquets on at all.
Guess what? They're back in fashion.
Okay.
You know why? Because they work. The downside is
They're not worried about cutting off too much or...
well, what they were finding is that people were worried about losing a leg and they were bleeding to death. Yes, you have to keep in mind that if you put a tourniquet on, you can kill the limb that's below it, and they may have to amputate it. Would you rather lose your lower leg or bleed to death?
I'll still be alive if I lose a leg.
There you go. That's why they're back in fashion now. Okay, so, and again, the United States has been at war now for 10 years nearly, 9 years. Longest single war we've ever had. All this stuff is driven in combat. Every bit of it is driven in combat. And they're finding out now that, yeah, the guys are, they're getting shot, they're bleeding to death, but the tourniquet is saving their lives. And yeah, they're losing legs, but they're alive. And they get to go home to their families. It's one of the reasons why it's back in there. All right, so to review, pants belt, wallet, I put the wallet against the artery. Here, I'm gonna get this back to you before anything happens to it. Wallet against the artery, crank down on the belt until the bleeding starts, secure the end so it doesn't loosen up. All right, that's easy. That's the best way to handle that. All right. And you can do this to yourself if you had to. It's a little harder to do it on an arm, obviously, because you're, but if you got cut really badly, you can do this to yourself. How far away, in this area, how far away is emergency medical here? Like that. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody should have one. This will just buy you a couple minutes until EMS gets there, and hopefully you've got a good crew that knows what they're doing. And
The turning implement?
what's that?
When you were turning.
What I call it?
What do you call it?
It's a windlass. That's a nautical term. WINDLASS. When you're trimming sails on a boat, you wrap the line around a drum, and then you put a crank in the drum, and you crank the drum, and that's called a windlass. If you go up to the USS Constellation, Baltimore Harbor, they have a windlass that is the size of the dining room table that was used to raise the anchor. And they would put spokes in it, and they'd get like 20 sailors who would just walk in a circle around this thing, and that's what they used to crank up their, I don't know, their 10-ton anchor, whatever it is, the anchor that's there on the dock next to it. It's who was it with the lever? Give me a lever, Archimedes. Give me a lever long enough, and I can move the world. A windlass is merely a rotational lever. That's all it is.